Oh, oh.
You did? Go, nigga. Hold on. This is my cousin.
Oh, my.
Go.
I want to get a nine, hit your body, that's a sinner. In my family was the law. Nah, nigga, I ain't kidding them. Boss me a king, shit, I'm an outlaw. Sippin' up and they permit the scene, no alcohol. Round around the city by my lonely, can't touch me. I'm a big dog, nigga, you a hush pup.
A quiet afternoon in Fort Worth, Texas. Soft sunlight bathed the narrow street where Kevin Lamont Brown Sr. had lived for many years. Like every other day, he calmly stepped out of the house after a short phone call with his ex-wife to check the mailbox by the front gate. Just a few steps, a distant car horn, and then 3 deafening gunshots shattered the peaceful air. Kevin collapsed right beside the familiar mailbox. His phone screen still lit up, the call still ongoing. The one listening on the other end of the line was his own son, Braylon Brown Jr., a young rapper, incarcerated, and it was he who had ordered his father's execution from behind bars. The incident sent shockwaves through the Fort Worth community. Kevin, 47, was a gentle father, well loved by his neighbors. No one could have imagined that the one who ended his life would be the very son he had once tried so desperately to save. Braylon, a rapper known in the underground scene by the name Crazy Boy Bray, wasn't just entangled with gang activity. He also carried a deep, festering resentment that had burned inside him for years. The motive behind the killing wasn't money, nor was it gang rivalry. It was something that left the entire community stunned. Kevin had once been romantically involved with a woman who used to date his late eldest son. In Braylon's eyes, that was unforgivable, an unforgivable stain on the family's honor. And the price for that betrayal was death. What truly led to this tragedy? Could Kevin have been saved if someone had paid attention to the early warning signs? Could Braylon's seething rage have been diffused before it turned into spilled blood? Make yourself a cup of tea or coffee and join this channel as we dive deep into every chilling detail of this case. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. That support gives me the motivation to bring you even more haunting and heartbreaking true crime stories. Fort Worth, the 5th largest city in Texas, is known for its peaceful charm, historic streets, and tight-knit community. Yet it was this very place, seemingly safe and serene, that became the backdrop for an unimaginable family tragedy.
Oh,
You did? Go, nigga. Hold on. This is my cousin.
oh, my.
Go.
A case with no trace of a stranger breaking in, no familiar motives like money, lust, or power. Instead, it was a story of honor, pride, and a family pushed to the edge by one of their own flesh and blood.
It was one of the most violent nights in Fort Worth in recent memory. From the parking lot of this Quick Trip on Brentwood Stair to a house on Novello Drive, 5 shootings over about 6 hours.
And I started telling them, like, I can't accept that. I'm not accepting that little girl. And forgive me. I know it's a little girl, but I said, that little girl. Excuse my language, mama.
And so have you killed people?
Yeah, somebody tried to kill me, I'm gonna kill them. Somebody hurt my family, I'm gonna kill them.
I'm asking you, have you killed someone?
Yeah, I never killed nobody in my life.
The victim, Kevin Lamont Brown Sr., was a 47-year-old father, described by neighbors in just 2 words: calm and kind. Though he had divorced his wife, Anne, their relationship remained respectful and responsible, with their children always at the center. He regularly called to discuss school and work matters, organized weekend fishing trips, and hosted small backyard gatherings. Never loud or flashy, but always present in a warm, steady way in the lives of those around him. That love also showed through his presence on social media. Photos of freshly caught fish, a short caption about a cool afternoon by the lake, or something as simple as a "good night" message to his son, all reflected a man trying to preserve the fragile thread of connection in a family that had once fallen apart. But a family cannot be held together by the will of just one person, and in the shadows of fractured relationships, something had been quietly taking shape, something Kevin himself may have never seen coming. Braylon Brown Jr., Kevin's biological son, first made waves in Texas's underground rap scene under the alias Crazy Boy Bray.
is that? And no more. Finna get mad on the whip. Late Como, eat untamed. We be creeping in the store. Hey, the Chris got a camera while we shoot. That's a promo. I don't wanna hear shit. You niggas saying, nigga, I don't want no feature. You know my friend. Cut throat in T, nigga, tell me what you saying. Dressed up in all black, see who ain't playing. Still on the miss, trying to catch me a body. It might die down, but beefing is a hobby.
With his striking appearance, fiery energy, and raw, hard-hitting lyrics, Braylon quickly caught the attention of the online community. His videos on YouTube racked up hundreds of thousands of views, especially after collaborating with the well-known Dallas rapper Mo3. But alongside the spotlight, Braylon was also on law enforcement's radar for his ties to the Rolling 60 Seconds, Crips, a gang linked to several shootings and violent turf disputes in southern Texas. He had previously been arrested for weapons possession and was suspected of being present at the scene of 2 separate shootings that left 2 women dead. Though he had never been convicted of serious charges, his record was marked in red. Online, Braylon appeared to be a rising star, young, defiant, living fast, and taking no prisoners. But behind the stage lights was someone carrying deep, unspoken wounds. He had lost his older brother, watched his family fall apart, and then faced what he saw as the ultimate betrayal, the father he once idolized becoming involved with the woman who had once belonged to his late brother. What he called family honor in Braylon's world wasn't just about pride. It was something that had to be preserved at all costs, and he chose to protect it with blood.
Isso acho que é evidente, não foi por acidente. Já visualiza a estrada da minha cidade, tem de uma Ferrari. Invejoso frustrado se achar de gangue, mas só parece o bump. Seu rap favorito nas linhas mentes, sou igual um meme. Já não nasci pá, isso acho que é evidente, não foi por acidente. Já visualiza a estrada da minha cidade, tem de uma Ferrari. Invejoso frustrado se achar de gangue, mas só parece o bump. Seu rap favorito nas linhas mentes, sou igual um meme. Yeah, BR7, confia. Honey Beach na produção, yeah, muita mídia, fé. Isso acho que é evidente, não foi por acidente. Já visualiza a estrada da minha cidade, tem de uma Ferrari. Invejoso frustrado se achar de gangue, mas só parece o bump. Seu rap favorito nas linhas mentes, sou igual um meme. Já não nasci pá, isso acho que é evidente, não foi por acidente. Já visualiza a estrada da minha cidade, tem de uma Ferrari. Invejoso frustrado se achar de gangue, mas só parece o bump. Seu rap favorito nas linhas mentes, sou igual um meme. Yeah.
The relationship between Kevin and Braylon was never deeply bonded, but it wasn't openly hostile either. As a child, Braylon had spent time living with his father, fishing trips, backyard barbecues, memories that lingered somewhere in the background. But after Kevin and Ann divorced, the distance between them grew. Braylon stayed with his mother, while Kevin continued to support him financially, checking in through calls and messages. It was the kind of relationship many divorced fathers try to maintain, not perfect, but well-intentioned. The problems began when Braylon entered his teenage years and slowly sank into street culture. From a quiet boy, he turned into a rebellious young man chasing after the image of tough, ruthless rappers who lived fast, lived hard, and never tolerated being disrespected. At that point, the more Kevin tried to step in, the more Braylon pushed him away. Phone calls grew colder. Words of advice turned into sparks for arguments. Kevin still believed his son was just going through a rebellious phase, that things would eventually settle down. But what he didn't realize was that the distance between them was becoming an abyss. Then came the greatest shock, when Braylon found out that his father was romantically involved with Rebecca Willis. She wasn't just someone who used to be with Braylon's late older brother, she was also the mother of the family's first grandchild. To Kevin, that relationship may have stemmed from loneliness, from a shared sense of loss between two people grieving the same absence. But to Braylon, it was the ultimate betrayal, a slap in the face of family honor. He couldn't accept that woman becoming his father's new girlfriend, Hesnode. And even more unbearable was the idea that his father was replacing his brother in such a way. Ever since he found out, Braylon's demeanor changed drastically. The messages he sent his father turned cold, harsh, even threatening. "I don't want to see you again. You embarrass me. Everyone will know who you really are." Those were the kinds of words Kevin began receiving, scattered between long stretches of silence. Ann, Braylon's mother, also sensed something was wrong. In one phone call, she told Kevin directly, "He's not okay. I feel like he's going too far. But Kevin, like so many fathers, clung to the belief that his son could never do something truly insane. Sadly, that belief was the only thing he held on to right up to his final day. Evening of the 25th of January 2022. Golden sunlight bathed the quiet row of houses on Beacon Way, a peaceful neighborhood in Fort Worth, Texas. Kevin Lamont Brown Sr. had just ended a phone call with his ex-wife. They still kept in touch for the kids, and today was no different. He hung up, sat quietly for a few minutes inside, then stood up, walked toward the front door, the phone still in his hand. A call came through this time, a three-way call. On the other end was his son, Braylon Brown Jr., who was in jail, and his girlfriend, Alexis Abeta, who had initiated the call. Braylon's voice was calm, almost emotionless. "Dad, go check the mailbox." Without a hint of suspicion, Kevin nodded and stepped outside, just as he had done hundreds of times before. He walked along the familiar red brick path, heading toward the mailbox at the edge of the front yard. The street was eerily quiet. No one knew that just seconds later, that peaceful neighborhood would be shattered by the most haunting sound of their lives. Not far away, a black Chrysler 200 sat quietly at the curb. Behind the wheel was Ashlyn Durham. In the back seat, one 9-year-old Damon Man. Cotton gripped a semi-automatic rifle tightly. They said nothing, just stared intently toward house number 614. Kevin stepped up to the mailbox. He opened the flap, leaned forward to look inside, then gently shook his head empty. In that very instant, Cotton sprang up from his seat, rolled the window down, and raised the rifle through the opening. 3 shots rang out, ripping through the quiet afternoon. Kevin's body jolted violently and collapsed onto the brick path. His phone flew from his hand, the screen still glowing. The call hadn't ended. The entire neighborhood fell into a deathly silence. Ready for the next part when you are.
You dead? Go, nigga. Hold on. This is my cousin.
Oh, my.
Go.
Inside the car, Cotton lowered the rifle, his face pale. Durham hit the gas. The Chrysler roared to life and sped off through a thin veil of smoke, leaving behind a motionless father and a shockwave no one could ever truly measure. Braylon was still on the line, inside the jail. He hadn't pulled the trigger. He wasn't even there. But every word, every move, every decision had been orchestrated by him. And in that moment, as the sound of gunfire echoed through his headphones, he may have smiled. Neighbors began to rush out of their homes. A man tending his garden across the street was the first to spot the body. He shouted, panicked, fumbling for his phone. "Someone's been shot, right in front of my house. We need an ambulance right now." Less than 5 minutes later, the first patrol car arrived on scene. A young officer stepped out and immediately saw Kevin lying motionless beside the mailbox, a pool of blood seeping into the cracks of the red brick path. Just a few steps from his hand was his phone still lit up, still connected to the ongoing 3-way call. He stepped back, pulled out the yellow tape, and ordered everyone to keep their distance. Neighbors began to gather, frozen in shock as they realized the victim was Kevin, the man who waved at them every morning as they left for work. No one saw it happen. No shouting, no argument. Everything unfolded in silence, quick, clean, and cold, like it had been orchestrated by a professional hand. It didn't take long for police to realize this wasn't a robbery. This was a hit. And the victim was a father, still on the phone with his son. Immediately after the shooting, the Fort Worth Police Department mobilized a full investigative response. Detectives moved swiftly to secure the scene, collecting bullet casings scattered along the walkway, blood samples, shoe prints, and most notably, the victim's phone. The screen was still lit. The 3-way call was still active, and the name displayed at the top of the screen, clear as day. Braylon Brown Jr., the victim's own son. This single detail sent the entire investigation spiraling in a new direction. This was no longer an unsolved murder with an unknown motive. This was a coordinated execution, and the suspected mastermind might already be behind bars. Police immediately canvassed the neighborhood, collecting surveillance footage from surrounding homes. One doorbell camera captured a crucial clue: a black Chrysler 200 idling near Kevin's house. just minutes before the gunshots rang out. The vehicle had a visible dent on the rear bumper, a distinct mark that made it easy to identify. Several witnesses confirmed seeing the suspicious car circling the area, right before Kevin stepped outside. It wasn't just a coincidence. It was a waiting game. Using the license plate captured by the city's traffic surveillance system, police quickly traced the vehicle back to its registered owner, Ashlyn Durham, girlfriend of Damon Man Cotton, 19 years old. The name Cotton immediately raised red flags. He wasn't a stranger to the system. He had a prior arrest for illegal firearm possession and was already on the radar for his ties to underground circles. This wasn't just a random shooting. It was starting to look like a targeted hit planned by people who knew exactly what they were doing. The search warrant for Durham's residence was executed in less than 24 hours. Inside, officers found an empty rifle bag, several shell casings matching those recovered at the scene, and a handwritten letter that raised even more concern. In the letter, Cotton expressed his absolute loyalty to Braylon Brown, stating clearly that he was ready to help his brother no matter the situation. Under the pressure of the evidence, Cotton was the first to crack. In his confession, he admitted to pulling the trigger, saying Braylon had promised him $3,000 to kill Kevin. It wasn't a large sum, but for a broke teenager, easily manipulated and desperate to be recognized in the underground world, it was a trap far too easy to fall into. Ashlyn Durham, the driver that day, admitted she knew her boyfriend was carrying a gun, but claimed she never imagined he would actually fire it. She said she thought they were just going to circle the block to scare someone and then head back. However, during her interrogation, she also confessed to receiving direct instructions from Braylon, relayed through his girlfriend. The third person arrested was Alexis Abeta, Braylon's girlfriend. She was the one who placed her name on the three-way call that lured Kevin out of the house. She was also the one who purchased ammunition from a local store at the exact time that coincided with a series of messages Braylon had sent from inside jail. Those messages, later uncovered on the jail-issued tablet, used simple codes. Controller meant gun, pieces meant bullets. It didn't stop there. Technicians uncovered one final message Braylon had sent to his father just hours before the shooting. "I don't forgive you. I don't want to see you anymore." It wasn't a direct threat, but it was more than enough to add to the growing chain of evidence pointing to motive. Piece by piece, the puzzle came together. The three-way call, the dented Chrysler, the receipt for the ammunition, the coded text messages, the confessions from Cotton, Durham, and Abeta. All of it pointed back to one central figure, Braylon Brown Jr., a man behind bars, no gun in hand, no step outside prison walls. Yet he orchestrated it all, from the trigger pulled by the shooter to the gas pedal pressed by the driver. And in the end, the only one who truly paid the price was the father who once held on to faith in him. The case was swiftly brought before the Tarrant County District Court, where the entire Fort Worth community watched in stunned anticipation. Media attention exploded, not just because of the brutal nature of the crime, but because of the blood tie between the victim and the alleged mastermind. A father murdered at his own mailbox, and the one accused of orchestrating it all was his own flesh and blood, his son from behind bars.
So I said, I talked to men on the phone, don't know if I still feel alone. I've been off for 5 years, don't know if I really want to take it. Mother said, shed tears, she mad at me, I hope she made it.
You're gonna have to slow down.
Okay.
I know you're trying to get into your deal with the court board, you gotta keep up with it.
Yes, sir. I said, I talked to men on the phone, don't know if I still feel alone. I've been off for 5 years, don't know if I really want to take it. Mother said, shed tears, because she mad at me, I hope she made it. I said that because after my sister told me my father had a baby with my brother baby mama, at first, when she told me that, I was mad. I couldn't accept it, but she couldn't accept it either, but she told me that.
So let me stop you there. What sister are you talking about?
The one Brown.
And Luanda, does she have an Instagram handle that is IONNOO?
I don't know Team Instagram.
You know. And so explain to the jury what you're talking about, that Luanda was mad at you.
I said, all the shit, if she mad at me, I hope she make it. She told me, like, when she told me, I was crying on the phone. And I started telling her, like, I can't accept that. I'm not accepting that little girl. And forgive me. I know it's a little girl, but I said, that little girl. Excuse my language, grandma.
And so you killed people?
And somebody tried to kill me, I'm gonna kill them. Somebody hurt my family, I'm gonna kill them.
I'm asking you, have you killed someone?
Yeah, I never killed nobody in my life.
Though their cooperation helped them avoid the harshest possible sentences, both Durham and Abeta still faced severe punishment. The court ruled that while they didn't pull the trigger, they played critical roles in the chain of actions that led to Kevin's death. Their participation wasn't passive, it was instrumental. The exact terms of their sentences were not fully disclosed to the media, but both received prison terms exceeding 20 years. The spotlight of the entire trial was on Braylon Brown Jr. When he was escorted into the courtroom, he showed no emotion. It was the same face the public had seen in his music videos, cold, unreadable, composed as if none of this had anything to do with him. But this time, there was no stage, no background track, only the truth, witnesses, and a 200-page indictment. The prosecution laid out the evidence one by one: call logs, encrypted messages, surveillance footage from the jail, testimonies from the 3 co-conspirators. Each point led to one conclusion. Braylon wasn't just complicit, he orchestrated the entire murder plot. He directed every step, from luring his father outside to the precise timing of the shooting. It was calculated, deliberate, cold. His defense attorney tried to portray Braylon as a broken young man, a product of a fractured home, emotionally scarred after losing his brother, consumed by resentment and a warped sense of honor. But the jury wasn't swayed. Braylon Brown Jr. was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. No more spotlight, no more fame, just 4 walls and a future defined not by his stage name, but by one title that will follow him forever: the man who had his own father murdered. The case may be closed, but the aftershocks continue to echo in the hearts of those who once knew Kevin Lamont Brown Sr. and his family. The man who was once called the kindest dad on the block is now only remembered through tears. He didn't die from an accident. He wasn't taken by illness. He was taken by the very thing he tried to fight his whole life: the hatred that had grown inside his own son. Braylon, the boy Kevin once taught how to fish, the son he used to send good-night messages to every night, is now condemned to spend the rest of his life behind bars. But what broke hearts the most wasn't the life sentence. It was his silence. No apology, no tears, not even a flicker of remorse. Just a cold, empty stare, as if nothing had been lost at all. A shattered family, 2 grandchildren growing up without their grandfather, a mother who had to bury one son, then watch the other be locked away forever. And in the neighborhood, no one dares to walk past the red mailbox where Kevin fell that day. They say every time they see it, they still hear the echoes of those 3 gunshots, a sound that never truly faded. The Fort Worth community held a candlelight vigil in memory of Kevin. On forums and social media, people shared old photos of him paired with heartbreaking captions. He just wanted his kids to live a good life. A father died because of trust no one could break in time. And perhaps that is what makes this case so haunting. Kevin believed in his son even in his final moments. But sometimes, trust isn't enough to save someone already lost in the dark. Never forget, evil doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes, it grows right inside the place we thought was the safest, our own home. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. And don't forget to like and subscribe so we can uncover even more haunting, tragic, true crime stories together. Because sometimes, the truth is more terrifying than any script ever written.